here now in Columbia and got to go through spring practice, as you said. So let's look back at spring ball. You know, just how was your experience? What spring ball and just overall experience here in Columbia? How has it been so far? What have been your thoughts on Columbia and adjusting to the Gamecocks program?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is going to be a transition for me. I was in the Sun Belt at first, and I'm coming to the SEC, the best of the best. So the transition has been good. I love the competition out there. It is a lot of competition, and I love to compete. So I really like what I've seen out of spring ball so far. So I just hope to keep it up, and we bring that juice and drive that we have to the season.
So you mentioned coming from Coastal in the Sun Belt to South Carolina, and yet you still have to play in the SEC upcoming this fall. But what's that transition like going from a Group of 5 program to an SEC program, just in what you've noticed so far before taking the field this fall?
Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, football is football, no matter what level you're at. But as everyone knows, SEC is very competitive. So I would say just I can't really, I'm not going to talk bad on anybody. I won't downplay anybody, but I mean, I can say that it is a better competition up in the SEC, and that's just what I love to do. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just keep that up.
Let's talk about a storyline that, I think's gotten a lot of attention this offseason, or a lot of conversation, and that is obviously Coach Beamer and his staff brought in yourself and 2 other transfer receivers and a couple freshmen, and then obviously a couple other transfers are going to join this summer and be here for preseason camp. But something that I know the fan base has talked a lot about that I wanted to give you a chance to address is, the size, conversation, right? Where you look at, okay, Nick Carver, who ran track during the spring, is, a bigger guy at 6'5". Delvon Campbell, who's going to transfer in from Nevada, is a bigger guy. But there's been a lot of talk about the size of the receiver core, right? But when you look at it, yourself, Amari, Gage Larvin, like, you guys were super productive at your past schools. So talk a little bit about, is there even a lot of conversation about that among receivers, about size, or is it just more about production?
I mean, we do talk about that. We'll come as a group and we'll say, that we all know that we're not the biggest group on the team, so that just makes us work even harder. I feel like the reason that we were productive at our last school was we were used, to our strength. Mm-hmm. So everything that we did, we were doing that we knew how to do extremely well. So and I feel like having three of those guys on one team is very scary. On top of that, we did get bigger guys, but I feel like, I'm more of a speed guy. I'm not a bigger guy. So I feel like, all 3 of us are fast. Every single receiver on that team has speed. So when everybody has speed like that, then you have to pick your poison. So.
When you look at the college game or the NFL game, I feel like there are a lot of receivers that are just really good at running routes and getting separation that aren't 6'3", 6'4", right? Are there any guys that you model your game after?
On the team, or just
just like NFL guys or guys that you grew up watching that you've kind of taken things from, really enjoyed watching?
I mean, I'm gonna say first Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say him first, and then I also like Saint Brown off the Lions. Yeah, I love his game. I study him. I am studying him now. Actually, Coach Furry actually brought him to my attention. Really, he brought him back up in my mind. So that's somebody I'm going to study over the offseason, too.
You mentioned Coach Ferry. A lot of change has happened at the wide receiver coaching spot just since you've been here since December. What's that been like from your perspective, and what's that relationship been like with Coach Ferry now that he's been established as your wide receiver coach?
Yeah, man. I love Coach Ferry. Coach Ferry, he's been at the next level, so he knows what it takes to get there. He knows that football is not just a physical game; it's also mental. So the mental aspect, he has given us a lot of great knowledge that we can take into the season, and knowledge, learning coverages, learning leverage, how they're going to play us, how they can disguise the coverages and all that. So he's also given us the physical aspect of the game too, teaching us the route, timing, stuff like that, because the new guys came from a different offense. I've been in 3 different offenses in college, so having a guy like that that's been at the next level that can slow it down for me and break it down so I can understand it, I really appreciate that.
What's it like from your perspective, committing to a place and coming in to think you're going to be working with one coach and then that changing multiple times to where you are now? Like what was that for not only you, but the other guys in the room as that process was playing out?
Yeah, I was just telling everybody just stick to the plan. It'll all work out. Ever since I've been in college, every year I've had a different receiver coach. So switching this receiver coach like this, it really didn't affect me. I just want to play ball, and I trust the head coaches. I trust everybody on staff that they're going to make the right decision for everybody in the receiving room and everybody on the team.
You mentioned Coach Furry and what he's been able to teach you. Did you know how good he was in the NFL? Did you know how good of a player he was?
I didn't.
He's told you his stats though.
Yeah.
I mean he did it. Have you gone back and watched any highlight tapes?
No, I haven't.
You should
I
check.
need to though.
There's some stuff on YouTube. Check it out.
I'm trying to think. How old would you have been when he had that great season?
I don't know.
Is that 06?
What year was? Yeah, let me look it up here in real time. 06 was. Oh man, he caught 98 passes in the NFL.
Most of the entire league.
Yeah. So Jared, you're
I
probably
did not know that.
2006. How old were you? Let's see.
I was born in 2003, so.
Okay. 3 years. Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
We're aging, Tyler.
Yeah.
Especially me. Tyler not. Tyler's a young guy.
I'm about to hit my 10-year high school reunion, so
Well, mine's.
I'm feeling it a little bit.
I got a 20 coming up in August, so I've doubled you. So yeah, but I mean, Coach Furry, yeah, he had 98 catches, went over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, playing for Detroit. That's pretty good.
Great
Didn't that
season.
lead the league, Tyler?
Yeah, that did lead the
Yeah,
league.
he led the league.
I
in
think
receptions.
he brought that up like 3 times in his introductory press conference.
But Jared, seriously, like when you have a coach, you mentioned you've had a bunch of different coaches, and we were talking about one of your former coaches, Perry Parks at Coastal, and
Right.
I know you're a big fan of his too. But like when you have a coach who is like, hey, I'm teaching you these things, these techniques, the mental side of the game, like you said, and you know that, okay, this dude that's telling me this literally played in the NFL, led the league in receptions one year. Like, does that make it a little bit more real and a little bit more like, I need to take this in?
It does, because, at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants to get to.
Mhm.
So, are you not going to listen?
Right.
So,
Right.
And
that's the way I look at it.
having already played 3 years of college football, how much development, how much more improvement can you make in a 3rd or a 4th year now that you're here at South Carolina? Or, is it just more kind of refining and fine-tuning what you already have?
Yeah, I would say it's tuning to what I already have to. And then on top of that, just not making the same mistakes that I've made previous. I feel like if I cut those out, then that's going to develop me more as a player.
What are those? Not even I wouldn't even say mistakes, but like what are the specific areas where you're like, hey, here's something that I felt was maybe missing from my game in the past, or something that I could improve on from the past, and something you want to get better at coming into this season?
Yeah, yes. Something in particular that I want to get better at is really route running.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. I came here to be a complete receiver,
Mm-hmm.
and have production on this team consistently. So I feel like the way that I can make the better step in that direction is to clean up my route running. That's really one thing that I need to work on. Like at Coastal, we were in a triple option offense,
Yep.
so I really wasn't running routes like that. And then when they left, and then we came back, and then when the new staff came in with Coach Beck, I was a slot receiver then, so I really wasn't having to run those real routes, the whole route tree. So one thing that I'm going to really harp on this summer is the route tree and the mental aspect of the game.
So I was going to go there next as far as the scheme. You've had several different coaches. You've played in different offensive schemes, and we'll get into a little bit more scheme talk later. But just positionally, you know, like you pointed out, you played pretty much exclusively in the slot at Coastal, right? And then you look out there during the spring game, and you're playing outside here some. So have you enjoyed that part, getting to play outside?
I actually have.
Yeah.
I feel like if I can play inside and outside, that'll be better for me.
Yeah, add value for
Right,
your
exactly.
pro stock.
Versatile.
What's the biggest differences? I mean, obviously like the types of routes, but like what getting to the
Yeah, I would say the big difference for me is having somebody in front of you the whole game.
right.
You know, I'm really not used to that. So I'm used to free access, but I enjoy it though. I do enjoy that.
So when you got to meet with Dow Loggins for the first time, got to run through spring practice, what are some of the kind of things that you feel like he's going to be able to do with your skill set in this offense this fall?
Yeah, I would say add in some of the stuff that I've already done. You know, the quick touches, sweeps, bubbles. You know, maybe even add a triple option pitch in there somehow. I mean, I don't know, but you know, just more of doing the stuff that I've already been good at, and then plus adding more on there.
If you had to describe Dowell's scheme based on what you've seen so far and being in it, what is it like to you? I mean, I guess probably call it pro style because he's a guy that came from the NFL, but what really stands out to you and how would you describe it?
I like his concept. I've just never seen anything like it before. And then the way he can you know, make like he's always keeping you on your toes. Like we have a lot of like we want you to bite on this play so we can open the next play up with this play. Like we almost want you to stop us on this one so you can think
Kind of
we're
like
gonna
setting up and sequencing plays. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that.
We'll continue our conversation with Jared Brown as the Garnet Trust Hour rolls along on your Tuesday here on the game.